Hello and welcome to this video. The inspiration from this video is from, I have a coworker who's interested in getting into home brewing. So he'd come out the other day when we were on break and looked at the stuff I had and was kind of intimidated by the stuff that I choose to use. So what I want to do is clear out misconceptions. The stuff I use aren't must-haves, they're niceties. For instance, I tend to use Brewer flasks, I tend to use the largemouth beakers, and I use a stir plate, stir bar. You don't have to have those. Any kind of wide mouth container or container that you can use. For example, 1 gallon plastic jug. Right here, just 1 gallon empty plastic jug. Just as good, just as effective as this here, a 1 gallon carboy. But you don't have to have the carboy, you don't have to spend the money. You can get the same results out of the same thing. Another example is this is one of my stir plates. This is a stir bar. It goes inside your beaker, your aroma flask, whatever, and it mixes things. They work really well, but this critter right here, common, everyday household spoon, works just as well. You can get the same mixing, whether you're rehydrating yeast, you're mixing stuff together to pour into your wort or your must. This works just as well as a stir plate and a stir bar, a lot cheaper. Wide mouth beaker, aroma flask. Wonderful tools. They're marked, they're graduated, you can make measurements a lot easier. And if you're lazy like me, you like easy. But simple plastic jar. In this case, this is a cucumber kimchi bar. Jar, not bowl, jar. And or a canning jar. Same thing. Works just as well as the beakers or aroma flasks. What I have, this is where I started. This is where I started. And I worked my way up as things allowed me to buy the easy stuff, the more brewing nerd looking stuff, I guess you'd call it, scientific stuff. I did it. I didn't buy it all at once. I took my time, caught it on sale, either on eBay or Amazon or somewhere. Made sure it was proper type of stuff that I wanted for me. Like I said, they are not must-haves, they're niceties. You can do the same thing brewing with stuff like this. Even like this here, and get the same results. whereas I use airlocks and bubblers and stuff. All you simply do is when you put your yeast, you put your lid on and you leave your lid loose so the carbon dioxide can escape. Not a must-have. I prefer it. I'm to a point where I was able to pick up the stuff that I like using. So, like I said, there's these misconceptions. Like I said, my coworker was just like, oh, I can't afford this, I can't buy all this at once. That's another thing. If you're going to buy something like a carboy, or carboys in my case, you do not have to buy them all at once. You buy them when you can afford them. There are things, even on yeast. You have your inexpensive yeast and you have your high-end yeast. When you start brewing, you're trying to figure out what you really like. Go with the inexpensive yeast. Go with stuff you can afford. It makes more sense that way. Like I said, these are just misconceptions. And because my coworker was real enthusiastic, real wanting to learn how to homebrew, make beer and wine, and possibly make his own vintner, and was just kind of intimidated by it. So, like I said, this video is simply just to clear up some misconceptions. Homebrewing Wild and Cheap is a real good channel. He does a lot of stuff on the cheap, quite literally, and he brews really good stuff. He's got good sound recipes. So, like I said, you don't have to have all the fancy stuff. Oh, another thing before I forget, I almost forgot. Star San, sanitizing agent, really good stuff. Do you have to have it? No. You can use light bleach, or even to this day, sometimes these are just bleach wipes, generic. I think these are Kroger brand, generic bleach wipes. With bleach though, you have to rinse it afterward. If you're using like liquid bleach, you're using full strength bleach, you're going to have to water it down. I find 3 parts to water to 1 part bleach works fine. Sanitizes real well, but you have to rinse it out. The Star San, you don't. Like I said, when you get to a point where you can accumulate the really cool, easy, lazy stuff, do it. There's nothing wrong with it. But at the same time, you don't have to have it to brew. You don't have to have the high-end yeast. You don't have to have the Erlenmeyer flask. You don't have to have any of the stuff that I use, because you can make it work. I have the aeration rod that I use for aerating my musk and my worts. You pick that carboy up and you give it a real good shake, same thing. Works just as well. Like I said, there are things you don't have to have. They're just niceties. And they just make things a little bit easier as far as measurements and stuff. But a good measuring cup, a good set of teaspoons, tablespoon set, cup set, do the same thing. You may have to do, on some of the recipes, you may have to convert from grams to ounces or liters to gallons or whatever. But in this day and age, you've got Google. Google is more than happy to do the conversions for you. Trust me, I use the heck out of Google doing stuff like that. So, like I said, this is simply to clear up misconceptions on what you have to have versus what I have, what I like to use, and what you can use. So, until the next video, have fun, enjoy life. Check out all the different channels on brewing that are out there. So, peace, love, and good brew.